Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hugh Capital Podcast with yours truly, Jaleesa Juju Fontaine. Don't hate me. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've had an episode, but the reason being is I just felt like I needed more time to properly plan for the year. I feel like there is so much this podcast can offer to you all, and I wanted to spend time just being a little bit more creative about my offerings. So now that I feel like I have a solid plan for what I want to do for everybody this year, now we can get back to the episode recording and you guys will see like around March or April-ish some new things I have in store for you all. So stay tuned for that. That's a whole different conversation. But for today is really exciting. And I know I always look excited, so please bear with me. I know I drag it, but this is really exciting because I'm actually introducing you all to a friend from high school. Like this is like way back, like Maybach. Like this is my friend. You get me? So I think what's so cool about social media is sometimes you don't get the opportunity to talk to somebody every single day. So with social media, you still follow these people from high school, from middle school, and etc. And you get to see their journey. And I feel like Saddiq is like one of those people where the past few years, every single year, there just seems to be like immense growth, something new, something different. And to me, that's like so exciting to watch because, we were teens together, like both two kids running around in the Bronx, doing God knows what, but, still paying attention, still staying focused, staying out of trouble. But it's just really cool to watch him grow and just be like this really amazing adult man, not only somebody who's ambitious, who is creating, who is doing innovative things to produce for himself and his family, his community, but someone who's genuinely a good guy. Like that's also really important. And no one talks about that, right? It's like, yay to the ambition, but what about yay to character? And I feel like this is someone who is just an all around amazing human being. So I know you guys get tired of me because I dragged you with the intro, so I'm gonna keep it shut there. But Saddiq, you can go ahead and let them know. Who are you? Where are you from? Like, why do you think you're here?
Whoa, Juju, thank you for the introduction. That was by far the best introduction I ever got. And I
What?
think you touched point on, you emphasized one of the things, character, and I appreciate that because one of the things I pray for is character, consciousness, and clarity. But for lack of better words, my name is Halim Saddiq Livingston Jr. My DBA is Saddiq Ali. That's my professional and business name. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. You could say I was raised in Newark, New Jersey as well, because I didn't move to New York City until I was about 13 years old. Me, my mother, and sister, to be exact. Um, I'm not gonna say I had a tough upbringing. My upbringing is what made me who I am today. My mother was a hustler. My father was a hustler. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. They got it the best way they could, and me seeing that as a young man always showed me the power in not only just money, but the power in independence and making your own money. Fast forward, like I said, I moved to New York City around 13. One of the most transformative experiences in my life was getting held back in the seventh grade, which was my first taste of failure. Seeing your mama cry because you messed up is never a good thing. So that pretty much changed me. And then also just, I don't know how many of y'all out there are, older brothers and sisters. You might be the oldest. Having younger siblings look to me for that guidance and that leadership, I felt the responsibility to move correctly, move with a sense of purpose. I didn't want to be the one to drop the ball, and knowing that people were looking to me. So having that sense of leadership always just played the huge part and a huge um, role in my life. In high school, with me and Juju met about 10 odd something years ago. It's been some time. Um, I cultivated, my personality in high school. I was able to learn how to navigate and connect with people, which later on helped me in entrepreneurship. Um, I like to say my first business was fitness, but the reality is my first business was selling candy. A lot of people know me from high school being the football player. I don't consider myself a jock or was a jock, but I was a football player. I was, the guy who was cool with everybody, and I sold candy bars, and I sold a lot of candy bars. Had I known what I was doing back then, that probably would have deterred me from maybe going to college and maybe even becoming a law enforcement officer later on. But just to touch base on my entrepreneurship journey through high school, most guys just sold candy one on one. I actually had people or other students who worked for me, and it was never really about the money. Granted, that was a major factor, but I also prided myself on helping other guys who were underclassmen make a couple dollars and breaking them off a percentage of based on how much candy they were selling. And that's when I learned how to balance the books of a business, profits and losses, and the whole 9 yards. While most students was going home after high school, I was going to football practice, and from football practice in the weight room, I was getting on the 19 bus or the what bus was that? The 205 train to the Grand Concourse, the
Four train?
BJ's. I think it was the 4 train. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Grand Concourse, the BJ's on 149th, and I was restocking. And I was getting to school the next morning at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. earlier than everybody else, and I was putting it in my little secret lockers that so nobody would be able to locate it. So, just always had a keen sense of what making money looked like and how to fill some type of void to make to getting a product or a service to people that needed it and wanted it. So fast forward, went to college, graduated with my undergrad in criminal justice, minor in public health, and decided to pursue a law enforcement career. At this time of my life, I would say it was the hardest. I had lost myself. I didn't really have a sense of purpose. I was following what they say the status quo, a little bit of that program. And it's not that there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5 if it's your passion, but in this case, I was just trying to figure things out, and I ended up in a career in law enforcement, which was definitely not conducive to me being fulfilled long term. I was kind of talked into it and motivated into doing it, and I was told that it would be a good opportunity, and not that it wasn't, it just wasn't for me. After about 3.5 years as a law enforcement officer here in New York City, and doing a heap of things that I just did not enjoy, while still personal training on the side. I just would ask myself every night, what am I doing here? Why am I getting dressed in this uniform? Why am I chasing down people that look like me? Am I actually making a difference? And the answer to that was no, at least I wasn't. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to do more. And that's when I started my journey in self-development, understanding what it is to be a man and how to navigate this world. And then I started reading more books, started listening to more podcasts. To give you a little more insight, this was 2014, 15, 16, 17. My grandmother, my nana was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. And I asked myself, well, if my nana, the lady who partially raised me and been in my life since day one, if she passed away, then what did I make of myself? Did I make her proud? And the answer to that, at least I felt, I did not make her proud. I had more to do in life. I had more to gain. And I said, you know what? I can't waste another night or another day not chasing my dreams. I'd rather fail at that than continue doing something that's just not cohesive to my overall outcomes that I want in my life. So that's when I resigned. I decided to leave law enforcement alone. And just to give a little input on that, I had pretty much any major law enforcement department you could think of. I had got accepted into their department with flying colors. I always finished top of the class, from New Jersey State Police to NYPD to Atlanta PD. I even went to LA, passed their expedited process. And even up until this day, I get offered gigs and career opportunities in law enforcement. But the reality is, like I said, I'm sticking to the grind. I'm sticking to my calling and my purpose. With that being said, after leaving my 9 to 5, which for me was really 12 to 8 because I worked the graveyard shift.
Yeah.
I resigned, and I was sitting on my fitness LLC for quite some time. And I had about 3 clients when I resigned. I'll never forget it. And I didn't show up to work for about 45 days. 45 days straight.
Rightfully
And what,
so.
and what they do in law enforcement, for some of you guys who might notice, they call it a AWOL. And anytime you're AWOL, they have to search for you. They have to find you. They knock on every family member door you can think of. They try to contact you any way they can, because obviously there's a high risk and suicidal rate within law enforcement officers. So that's one of the reasons why they go to that degree to find out and locate you. But I was ducking and dodging, and finally decided to answer, and turned myself in.
Yep.
The man turned myself in and then resigned. But I say that to say, when I resigned in 2018, I was sitting on about 3 clients. And at that point, it was middle of May of that year. And I hustled and bustled and hustled and hustled. And there's a lot of backstory to all of this stuff, but obviously we can't touch base on everything. But I had met a mentor who said that if I did leave the job, he would invest in me. And not just financially, but just from a just support standpoint.
Nice.
And this guy I had met on a birthday trip in Atlanta, and he was a millionaire, and I had never seen a millionaire. I met him, and he stuck by his word when I told him I left my job, and he pointed me in the right direction. So I came up with a way to have multiple incomes, whether that was delivering car parts for a Chevy dealership, personal training on the side, driving Uber, you name it, I did it for the remainder of that 2018 fiscal year. And that was my first year ever making 6 figures.
Wow.
Just all hustle. And I did that in 6 to 7 months.
Wow.
So when I seen that I was able to do that and, just do the right thing with the money that I was receiving, I said, look, it's easy to make money. It's just, you got to apply yourself. And
Yep.
From that point forward, I was really just sold on independency and
Yep.
doing things my own way. And from that point forward, I want to say I fast forward, I started several business ventures and connected with several partners, everything from security, executive protection, to logistics in a trucking company early 2020, when trucking was quote unquote on a rise and becoming a thing in the Black community. I figured out a way to differentiate myself in my industries, being I'm already Black, so that's already a separation there, right?
Good one.
But, exactly, but also having an idea of the type of services I wanted to provide, and when it came to logistics, what industry I wanted to be in.
Yes.
Because I'm never one to follow trends. Trucking could be on the rise, but I got to figure out what in trucking can I do that's different from everybody else. And now I guess you could say 2023, I'm here. There's a lot of other stuff in the midst of that.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but we'll get there. 2020. You know what? I got a quick story for you, Juju.
Let's do it. I love stories. We all love stories.
I'm gonna make this real quick.
Okay, go for it.
2020, March 13th, I got off the airplane from Chicago. I had a client that I was traveling with who happened to be the wife of a former NBA player who owned a couple clubs, and he wanted me to come out and check his bars. Long story short, I went to Chicago. When I got back on the 16th, everything shut down. I'm a very rebellious person. So when they said everything is shutting down and blase, I'm on Instagram and I'm like, I'm not shutting down nothing. I'm going to keep running. I'm going to keep hustling. You can't tell me you putting me in shackles and I got to be okay with it, right? I went searching for a gym. Every gym has shut down, as we all know. I went searching for a gym. Now, this is how, one hand, I'm going to bring it full circle.
We're ready.
The gym I opened up happened to be the gym that was the union gym for the police department.
That's crazy. That's a real 360.
Yes. So I went to the union rep. I said, hey, initially it was, can I just train here? Then I seen an opening. I know everybody in fitness. People are eager to work out. A lot of guys who go to the gym, they're not ones to like lay down and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go sit in the house." Some might be that scary, but then eventually they'll get that itch and they'll go out and find a gym, right? I want to say 3 weeks into April, after my 26th birthday, I asked the gym, the union rep, I said, "Look, what do you think about me opening up this gym to the public? And here's the systems I'm going to put in place. We're going to do 10 people per hour in and out. They have to sign a book, wear a mask, and wear gloves. I'll wipe down all the machines with my assistant, and we'll keep it rolling every hour on an hour. There won't be no lines outside. People will have to call before to book their appointment. We're open from 5 a.m. until we close, and nobody else want to come to the gym. I never, that's one thing about me with entrepreneurship and business. I don't never put a time on when I have to stop working. And that could be a good and bad thing. And in that pandemic year, everybody from Long Island to New Jersey, Westchester, all the boroughs came to my little 650 square foot gym that I happened to put tinted windows so you couldn't see inside. The cops kept driving by, and I made, I ain't gonna say the money amount, but
You gonna tell us
I
what?
made a hefty amount of money in about 4 months, running a small gym because I seen the opportunity. And let me say this, because some people might turn it bad and say, "Oh, you might got people sick." Not one COVID case out
Wow.
of my gym. Not one person was sick. Not one person spread any viruses in my gym. And I would say even to this day, I have not had COVID myself. And I've trained hundreds of
Wow.
clients. Yes, and I've trained hundreds of clients since the COVID year. So
Wow.
safe to say, if you see an opportunity, and there's a lot of fear mongering and things going at it, if people going left, go right. It's always an opportunity when you go solo and isolate yourself sometimes. People gonna call you crazy.
Yeah.
But entrepreneurship, success is crazy. You gotta be
Crazy.
crazy. So not just, I know we talking about entrepreneurship, but people that's in their professional careers and their industries, be a little crazy. Be a
Yep.
little crazy because the crazy people is the people who sees the opportunity and create them.
I love that. And honestly speaking, I'm happy that you took the time to share that story because I
Yeah.
think it was very necessary. I think that to your point, right? I think a lot of people had a lot of creative ideas for what they wanted to do and produce through their businesses, whether it be a new one or a current one. But
Yeah.
because of COVID and the limitations, people did feel like they had to completely shut everything down. And that possibly meant like the end of their entrepreneurial journey. That probably meant that they stopped doing that, pursued a job, and probably have been in that situation ever since, right? But for you, you realize like, yeah, no, having a job that's not for me. It's not my path. And not that it's a bad thing, but it's not your path. And if that's the case and you need to make your livelihood off of entrepreneurship, then that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to find an opportunity to pivot to solve your own
Yes.
problem and
Yes.
make that income because sometimes that's just what you need to do. So I
Exactly.
appreciate that.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
And
love that.
what's funny? I've been around a lot of professionals and people who are in tech and all types of fields, and I'm actually intrigued by the work that they do.
Hmm.
And I found myself, because the problem with me and finding, having a 9 to 5 at a younger age was, one, I was very rebellious. I hated taking command, right? And
Hmm.
secondly, it was, I didn't know where I fit in the corporate atmosphere because
Fair.
I had the entrepreneur spirit where I wanted to do everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a jack of all trades, but then I didn't realize being a jack of all trades make you a master of none, right? So
Right.
I had to, hone in on more skills and more understanding of life and business. And
Hmm.
now you ask me, "Hey, you want to come work for a big company?" I say, "Yeah, I can help you with a build out," right? Because now
Right.
I know what I like to do, and I know how to work with a team, which I've always known how to do.
Right.
But now it's just way more different. It's just way different. I'm way more mature,
I love it.
and I just love being around just people who are moving forward and forward thinking with growth mindset. So
Absolutely. Well, the good thing is we're going to get very into it, right? Like you had mentioned,
yeah.
right? You're talking about all the different businesses that you've had. We're talking about selling candy in high school. We're talking about starting your fitness company. We're talking about starting a security company and starting a trucking and logistics company. So I'm
Yes.
going to pick at you per business with a couple of questions each.
Let's
But
do
I actually want to start with the security company.
it. Okay.
And the reason why I want to start there is because when I first saw that you had that business, I was like, that is a smart idea. And the reason why I thought it was a great idea is because when I was in Albany and I was in college, my senior year, I threw parties. But no venue would allow me to throw a party without what?
Security.
That's right. That's right. And you know who was not cheap?
Security.
That's right. So I want you to walk me through the process of building a security company. Like, where do you start? Does it start with a partner, then an LLC, then chasing people around the city to figure out who needs your services? How do you build something like that?
Oh man, it is a ton of work now that I look back at it of getting the process started. But I'll tell you this, everything in life is full circle. My first job out of high school while being a full-time college student was security.
Mhm.
And I remember working in the city in Midtown, going to school, pardon me, going to work in what I like to call at that time the monkey suit,
Mhm.
which is the
Why monkey? I
security,
was gonna ask why. Why
which
monkey
is the
suit?
security uniform.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask, but I was like, what's a monkey suit? Okay.
And one thing about me, I've always taken pride in how my presentation,
Yeah.
because I understood no matter what dollar amount I was making, hourly wage or not, the way I showed up is how people were going to treat me. And that's just how it is, right? And I worked in a corporate business building. And at 19, I was overseeing that entire building from the 55th floor down. I was
Mhm.
in charge of security. But one thing I didn't like was how the company treated me.
Okay.
And I remember sitting, reading newspapers every day at the desk, and I would say, man, one day I'm gonna start my own security company.
Okay.
Because I'm the type of person, one of my geniuses is I'm analytical and I look at everything from a dollar perspective, a dollar amount. I'm always thinking, if they're paying me $17 an hour, then what are they making,
Mhm.
right? If they got, 500 employees paying them X amount of dollars, then what is this contract? And me seeing that bigger picture and things always propelled me to say, is this something I want to do?
Right.
So you fast forward to 2019. This is 6, 7 odd years later. I'm still in security, law enforcement, right? And an opportunity just happened to come. Literally, the moment I left law enforcement, I had a client who was pretty much like the director at HBO. And he ran one of the biggest festivals, Latino Film Festival, to be exact.
Hmm.
And he came to me. He said, "Hey, would you like to do security? Do you know anybody who can do security?" And me being on the go and having so many different hustles at the time, I'm good at knowing who needs to be where and who can seize the opportunity, kind of like multiplying myself,
Mhm.
right? That's why we network, by the way. We network to multiply ourselves,
That's
right?
right.
A close friend of mine who happened to be my sergeant, um, as an officer, I said, "Hey, I got a client who has this opportunity. I can't make it, can't do it. What do you think about taking the gig?" And I see he's out and about. He's going to all of these meetings. He's touching base with me, and he said, "Hey, this is bigger than we thought." Now he's a very analytical person. He's very smart. He understands security systems. So he's the perfect person to seize this opportunity. He came back to me. He said, "Hey, we need manpower." I said, "Wait, do they know we don't have we're not a security company?"
Mhm.
So I show up. It's at the AMC Theater. It's huge. Celebrities. They give us a celebrity list. I'm like, "Wait, dog. Tomorrow, everybody come in suits.
That's right. Mhm.
Everybody come in suits tomorrow." And we're gonna start calling ourselves such and such and such, right?
Mhm.
And from that point forward, we sat down that October and we formed our LLC,
Wow.
our security firm. 3 months from there, 2020, January of 2020, Bad Boys for Life, red carpet, we're security company
That's
for the red carpet.
fire.
I'm sitting there with my idol, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, DJ Khaled, all of these people, Ace Hood, like every celebrity you could, Bryson Tiller, all of these guys.
Right.
And they're coming to me asking me for direction as a security agent, right? And from that point forward, again, here it is, fresh in the pandemic arriving that's approaching in 2020. We're like, God, we just getting some momentum, and we just going through all the loopholes with it, and we seen some success. But even then, through the pandemic, and I hope I'm answering your question, because I got stories for days. Even then, through the pandemic, we seized the opportunity because security, as you know, things were being rioted and vandalized, things like that. So we were able to get contracts in the midst of the pandemic, securing the inside of stores down in the city if they were vandalized. Not only that, on the back end of security through the end of 2020 and 2021, we wrote COVID compliance plans that were state and city approved by the mayor.
Wow.
For festivals to take place, for directing, casting, call, like different I'm sorry, excuse me, tongue twister. Production studio.
Gotcha.
For production studios to operate, they needed a COVID compliance protocols. So we were the security company that was writing up these protocols for the production side. So we were still able to even make money through the pandemic.
Lovely.
So that's the security thing of everything. And from that point forward, I mean, we have done a heap of festivals. We have done a ton of celebrity hosting, executive protection stuff, NDAs that I can't really speak on. And the way you're able to navigate through that type of industry is, one, definitely having knowledge of the industry. Two, having the clearances that are conducive to the overall bottom line of your business, right? And two, the connections, or three, the connections. You set a good impression on people. If you see that a contract is coming up in a new location, and that property manager or venue manager, that's a connection you could build, because now when they see you, they're like, oh, who was this security company? And maybe you want them for the next event and the next event. So it's really just word of mouth, and it's really just showing up and one, being committed to the word that you say, that the service you're going to provide, and never deviating from that. So
I have a question on that as well, right? Because I think it's so cool. Once again, you mentioned about a person coming to you with an opportunity for a gig, for a job that you did not have the bandwidth to take. You went to somebody else that you knew and said, hey, do you want that gig? That person technically says yes and has conversations with the person about that gig. They realize, no, F the gig, we need a business for this gig and multiple gigs. That's the first thing you all did, right? Was seize the opportunity, find an entrepreneurial opportunity at that, tackle it, make an LLC, and realize now we need manpower. The part that I wanted to bother you about was, where do you get this manpower? If I am somebody who is pursuing a security company, how do I find people that I can trust to do this type of job at these high caliber events? Because if anything goes wrong, that's your ASS.
Well, I would say this. When it comes to hiring, it is the most tricky thing, especially when you're talking about protective services. You can go baseline and say, hey, I'm hiring this person because they have this experience, but you never really truly know. And as the owner, as the lead person or personnel, you have to still cross your T's and dot your I's, provide training. Make sure that these people understand what's on the line and who they're dealing with when it comes to the clients, and what's expected of them, how they should show up. So never just expect that the person you're hiring knows what's the expectations of them, because a lot of these security guards can come from bigger conglomerate agencies where they don't really focus on showing up prepared, staying sharp. They getting paid the bottom dollar. And one thing we prided ourselves on at the time was paying top dollar, right? Because the guards was the product, not the clients. If the guards don't produce, there is no clients, right? So understanding the respect the employee, right? The employee is what's gonna that they're gonna affect their bottom line. So when it came to hiring, to touch base back off what you're saying, I like to get an idea of the person's character.
Lovely.
Even if you probably don't have 5, 10 years experience, I want to sit down, have a verbal conversation with them, get an understanding of their background, their life. Who do they go home to at night? Do they have a wife, a husband, children? Where are they looking to take their career and security? Because a lot of times people are pivoting that's not their last stop.
Yep.
They're looking for an opportunity, whether it be temporary or whether it be something that's going to take them to the next level. And with my company at the time, it was Executive Protection Services, which is very hard to get in because you have to have a legit understanding of what EP, Executive Protection work, looks like and how to fulfill that duty.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, when it came to that hiring process, one, I'm looking in what's their character like? What is it like at home? Are you someone who's logical, rational? Do you act quick, move fast? Are you going to escalate or de-escalate situations, right? And I get that bottom line based off just the conversation we're having. And more times than I would say 80% of the time, I don't have a perfect percentile on this stuff, but about 80% of the time we pick the right people, whether that was in Miami, whether that was in Chicago, Los Angeles, or New York City. We chose good people who understood the brand, and we gave them a purpose on why they wanted to work for us, and they enjoyed working for us. So that's how I hired with security.
I love that. That was a good wrap up for the well, at least for the conversation about the security company. I feel like there's so many questions that we could ask, but obviously there's always a limited amount of time. But I think that one of the most important things or most important areas of business for any company is learning how to hire people. Because once again, if anything goes wrong with your employees, that's a reflection of you and your company.
It is.
So that was a great answer. That
That's
was
it.
tough. I love that. Now,
Thank you.
I want to spend the rest of this interview talking about the next stage in your entrepreneurial journey, which is the trucking side, the trucking and logistics side.
Yes.
And before
Which
we
is my favorite, by the way.
oh, it is his favorite, by the way. And he's going to excel in that space. But you heard it here first. So 10 years from now, when you hear about this multi-billion-dollar trucking logistics company, remember I said that. It was me.
Yeah, you said it. You definitely said it. I was literally I'm gonna let you finish, but I was reading an article today. I'm always looking for a little bit of inspo. This black African American owned trucking company, grossed $880 million last year. So I literally put that up on like my refrigerator because I need to see that every day.
Literally.
Every day.
What you're doing is you're looking at the opportunity to meet or exceed that.
Absolutely.
And what I want to do is, well, first things first, I want you to elaborate on why we say trucking and logistics. That's very important, right? Because people hear the word trucking and think that's it, but the logistics part is very important. But before we get there, I want to highlight why I believe that trucking is very important and very critical to the economy. First things first, we live in a world where everybody pretty much, not everybody, but a large population of us are working from home. People don't necessarily care to go out there and get their own groceries and etc. Like everything is about commute. Everything is about how do you get produce from one place to another? How do you get anything from one place to another?
Yes.
So think about car parts, everybody. Think about groceries, everybody. Think about Amazon, everybody. Like everything that you had came from somewhere first, and then you ended up at the store that you purchased it from. And if you think about how many things you have in your home, which are a lot of things, they think about how many households there are in America and then globally, that should put it in perspective to you for how large this industry really is. So, Saddiq, help us understand, what does trucking and logistics entail, and why do you belong in this business?
Wait, can I hire you?
Oh, come on, listen. What's about me? Listen, you get me? So, fun fact: my dad actually has a trucking company. It's not as huge and grand with the 16 wheels or anything like that, but he definitely was able to take care of our household during my high school years and even up to technically now with his company, with his box truck. So I know something.
I commend your father.
That's
you said
right.
your father, right? Truck drivers are, in my opinion, the first line of everything we have. Everything we have of value, everything we do every day. So yes, kudos to your father. Much value to him. And to answer your question, there's All right. Logistics is the umbrella
Mm-hmm.
of trucking.
Yep.
Right. Logistics covers a large variety of things. Everything from exports from the ports. We talking about shipping containers,
Mhm.
over the road hauling, material being moved to build buildings, developments. You even talk about aircraft,
Yeah.
right? There's things being shipped all over the place all day, 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's logistics. Logistics is a numbers game. Trucking is a subset or a sub
Or a branch.
beneficiary of logistics,
Right.
right? Trucking, let's put it like this. Trucking itself, just trucking, not all of logistics, grosses about $875.5 billion annually.
I want that.
That exactly. Mind blowing numbers, right? So, and that's just in the US alone. And since the pandemic, as we've seen the value and inflation and everything, high demand, right? Cars to produce to everything we buy at Walmart is going up. Um, Trucking on an annual basis since 2020 has increased by 1 or 2% annually.
Yeah.
So you do the math, right? And initially, when I heard about trucking and logistics, I was hyped. It was pandemic. Black people were talking about trucking. I'm like, what is this thing about? And it's funny because I had a conversation in 2018 with a friend. We was gonna open up a auto shop,
Mm.
and I was like, "Yo, we should do trucking." And I remember that friend was like, "Nah, man, you bugging. That ain't it." Da da da. So
That's it.
it was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Just don't know how because fast forward time. I know you said your father did box trucks. I didn't want to do over the road freight.
Mm.
It was too many complexities in it. It was too much complications. It was too many middlemen.
Mm.
I didn't get in entrepreneurship for me to be checking from one point to the next just to close a deal.
Right.
So if you talk about load boards, bidding, and all of this stuff, I'm like, that just sounds like it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I discovered another um, part of the industry in trucking, which is dump trucks.
Mm.
Now, dump trucks, and I'm gonna tell you many reasons why I chose dump trucks. Dump trucks is what gets us our salt in the winter from
Mm.
Chile. Dump trucks is what move the sand to the beaches and wherever else sand needs to go. Dump truck is what builds the developments that we sleep and lay our heads on at night. When that material needs to be moved and those holes are digged in those grounds and they need to move the old material to somewhere in PA and then new material back to fill the holes, or they need cement, or the highways need to be paved at night for you guys not to have potholes, that's where I come in.
Nice.
So there's no load boards, there's no bidding, there's no middleman.
Right.
It's company to contractor or customer.
Nice.
All I have to do is submit paperwork, show that I'm DOT approved, FMCSA status is good to go, my insurance is good, and everything else on my record is good.
Nice.
Then I provide the truck. I tell them, hey, I could do 20, 30 loads this week. I commit to it. I make sure I stick to my word.
Mm-hmm.
I deliver the product in the loads, and that's it.
I
The
like that.
market, yeah, the market dictates the rates.
Nice.
Every company get the same rate. So I know no matter what, I can gross for simple math. Let's say I can gross 8,000 a week per truck, no matter what, because the load count is there. All I have to logistically is figure out a route
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to do every day, make
Mm-hmm.
sure that my drivers follow it.
And
That's
that's
it.
it.
The only thing that changes my bottom line, and I'm sure we'll probably get to this, is fuel.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Just
it.
fuel. That's it.
Yep. And the more efficient the route, the less fuel.
Exactly.
You get me? That's right. And
Come on, Dad.
that's why
Come
the logistics
on.
is so important, right? To your point, once again, is understanding the most efficient route that helps you use less gas so that
Yeah.
you get to keep more of your income for your business.
Exactly.
I'm with you on that. And I have another question for you. I love how you broke down what is necessary to have this company, right? Like each
Yeah.
truck needs to be DOT approved, etc.
Hmm.
What kind of trucks do you need to fulfill these types of gigs? Like how many wheels do these trucks have?
Okay, my trucks are what they call tri-axle, third axle. It has about, yeah, three axles, right, outside of the front axle. And the third axle drops down to create more stability when it's
Mhm,
loaded.
mm,
They're called dump trucks. If
mhm.
you're talking about the companies that produce or manufacture these trucks, we're talking Kingsworth, Freightliner, Mack, and Peterbilt.
Okay.
They're the best brands. Volvo also, some companies got them, but I typically deal with Peterbilt, Kingsworth, or Mack.
Okay.
They're 17-inch steel body. They have the cab. They have, the driver cab and everything. If you want to talk about other specs, which I don't think we have to, but like Cummins engines is
Mhm.
the best. And you want to go on-road tires for more grip and keep your truck looking clean and nice. That's it. I mean, that's
Amen
really
to
it.
that.
Yeah,
You get
yeah,
me? I love
yeah.
that. I love that.
That's it.
And what I also wanted to bother you about was I want to get more understand. So you had mentioned about by specifically choosing this area of trucking, dump trucking, right? You don't have
Yes.
to go through like the bidding wars and things like that.
Hmm. Yes.
So who are you getting contracts with? Not names of clients, but is it all government clients? Is it some private as well? Like what types of clients are you getting
Most,
with this?
most are private, but here's the
Okay.
beauty: is there's so much leverage in the dump truck area of things because Jersey specifically, Jersey, PA, New York, and Connecticut, some of Connecticut. I mean, it's just hundreds and hundreds, thousands of dump trucks moving every day. That's how much work it is. So when I want to hunt for my own clients, what I like to do is, being that I am in real estate,
Yeah.
I like to go to development sites and talk to the foreman.
Mm,
Who's the rich Russian family that owns this development that's
yep.
going in the city? Who's the Jewish family? Who do I talk to for the next time you guys need material moved into a location? Because I know y'all going to be building, right?
Right.
Gentrification is heavy everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I see a dump truck, or anytime I see a development, commercial, any property going up, I look at that as an opportunity to build my own relationships and get in the door with clients or customers that otherwise I wouldn't have gotten.
Nice.
Now, just like many other industries in business, we also get a percentage of the state and government contracts,
Oh.
being black owned as well.
The
Uh,
MWBE?
I'm sorry.
Is it the MWBE, the Minority Women Business Enterprise?
Well, that's more for the women. That's more.
Oh,
That's
is it?
geared to
I heard
more.
it
Yeah,
for everybody.
that's
Oh,
SBA give that more to black women, which is super dope.
okay. Got you.
But just minority. Don't get me to telling a false thing on this, but it's geared towards minorities where they have to, even like with security, they have to give a certain percentage of contracts to minority owned businesses if they fit the right protocol, they fit the script, right? You got to have all your paperwork in order. Don't think just because you got an LLC and you black, they just about to give
Mhm.
you something. No, make sure the contracts you take, you can stick to your word. You don't deviate. If you say you're going to provide a service or a product, provide it.
Love
Because I can tell you right now, you go to bid on a contract with the state and government again, they're gonna void
it.
you out. You see what I'm saying?
Got you.
But yeah, I like to get my contracts that way too. When I'm really hunting and fishing for just new opportunity, I knock on the doors and see what's going on with the properties.
I love that. Thank you for that. And the reason why I thought that was so important is because I think that everybody's always championing like start your own business, go
Yeah,
get clients, but the reality is if you did not grow up around certain opportunities and resources, you're not really fully aware of who your clients can be. I think that's a very important question to ask,
very true. Very true.
and you were able to clearly answer that. So shout outs to you.
Yeah, yeah. And that's not something I knew. I'm not gonna speak on. I had a mentor who wasn't really a mentor and
Mhm.
left me hanging, and I had to learn all these things myself. I had to ask the questions myself because the reality is, I'm not never looking for anybody to hold my hand.
Right.
Once my foot is in the door, I can do the groundwork myself. I don't need the answers. It'd be nice to cut that time frame in half and get things, going smoothly. But if I got to go out and hunt, I just go out and hunt.
I love that.
Yep.
Well, the good thing is we technically still have some more time, but we have more time for in the next episode. So
Yes.
everybody listening, I have one more question. Well, technically 2 more questions for Saddiq, and then we're gonna get into the next episode. And like I tell you guys, once again, don't cheat. You heard this one, listen to the next one. What we're gonna talk about is leveraging technology for logistics. And the reason why that conversation is so important is because, well, you all are very familiar with a company that literally powers logistics through technology. That's Amazon. That's how they have everything. That's how they do everything.
Yes.
But the reality is Amazon is not the only company in the world that gets to use technology for this, right?
No,
exactly. So Saddiq will educate us a little bit more on that during the next episode. But as a sum up for this one, I want you to help us understand, like, for someone as busy as you are, right? Once again, you have the fitness company, there's a security company, now there's this trucking company, but yet you still have time to work out and take care of yourself. What are you doing? How do you do that?
Well, see, that's built over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's not get that misconstrued, right? Because it's a programming that takes place when you see the end product of this. And I'm not by no means saying that I'm perfectly doing this every day. I have to self-assess and check myself daily to see how I can do better the next day. That's one thing where it starts. Secondly, you talking to somebody who has been getting up at 4 a.m. since the age of 15 years old. You see what I'm saying? So now it's just being more efficient with my time.
Yeah.
Right? It's being proactive, not reactive.
Yep.
Entrepreneurship, you never want to be the guy putting out fires all the time.
Yep.
Be the lead, multiply yourself by adding to your team.
Yes.
That'll alleviate a lot of problems. Automation is everything, and you automate things and you process things smoothly by adding people to your group. So I say that to say the gym comes natural. Eating healthy comes natural. I personally know every time I've deviated from that one foundational thing, everything else falls to shambles.
Okay.
So for me, that is my self-care. That is my mental stimulation. I get all the answers I need. Anything I'm struggling with, I go to the gym, I figure it out.
Nice.
I put my back against the wall. I like to call it a self-test. I like to call it a added pressure.
Yeah.
Me adding the pressure on myself and not waiting for something to be thrown on my shoulders.
Yep.
The gym shows me who I'm made of. So it's I know it sounds, I don't know if I really targeted the answer the way it should have been, but when you start waking up at 4 a.m., your day could be over by like 3.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a long day.
You see what I'm saying? And everything else, see, entrepreneurship is about freedom.
Yeah, that's true.
I know we say, oh, okay, you leave your 9 to 5, you working at 24/7. Yeah, you got to be on call. You got to be on call. Absolutely. But let's not misconstrue what this is. This is about freedom.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Failures, losses, wins, and everything else under the sun comes with it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you just have to learn how to manage it all. And don't be the one that's procrastinating and waiting and sitting on things. We all got 24 hours in a day.
Right.
We all got 24 hours in a day. Make use of it. Be efficient. And I think the rest will handle itself,
That.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for that.
No
I hope y'all
problem.
took notes. Take notes on that, y'all. Remember, if you know that you're somebody who you need to stay on top of your health, whether it be fitness and diet, in order for you to fully function, prioritize that. Otherwise, once again, everything else will crash and fall. And maybe one of you listening, that's exactly what's going on right now. This is a huge call out to you. So get it together, get back into your routine, use your calendar, your reminders, etc. But just make sure you're getting it done because you know you need that to function.
You have to. It's kind of, same way of making $1, by any means necessary. It's find a 24-hour gym. You can't go in the morning, you can't go in the evening or afternoon.
Figure it out.
I'm crazy. I go at 2 a.m. I go at 1 a.m. I'll go at 12. All I truly need is 5 to 6 hours of sleep. Some people need 8. Now,
Fair.
you're that person that need 8. Now you got to figure out plan things in advance. What am I going to do with the 16 that I'm up?
Yeah.
And write it down. Write it down. I know we all talk about it. We hear it on social media, write stuff down. No, really write it down, because then you get to make sense of it.
I like that. Thank you for that. And then I have one final question for you before we go on to the next episode. You ready for it?
Let's go.
My question to you is, what does the future of entrepreneurship look like?
Okay. I like to look at entrepreneurship as a group of people, not so much an industry.
Mm.
Right. So now when we're talking about people lead entrepreneurship. When you want to go from Silicon Valley down to the mom and pop store, it's the people who make entrepreneurship what it is, right? And these industries what they are. So I would say creativity. How creative can you be? Wow. Second point, being authentic.
Mm.
Authenticity is key, especially if you're providing a service,
Yes.
right? Now, if you're providing a product, people are now, social media era, people are now falling in love with brands through the people who run the brand.
Yeah.
So you have to become personable and you can't be fake.
Yeah.
So remain authentic, be creative. The creativity is where you separate yourself from the pack. What are you offering, doing, how are you living that's different from the average human being or the average entrepreneur? Um, so creativity, authenticity, speed,
Mm-hmm.
which is equivalent to speed, efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
How efficient can you be when you provide the service, when providing your product, right? How does that it all correlates in a way. It all correlates. And then the last point I would probably say is accessibility.
Nice.
Be accessible. People want access to you.
They do.
So if you are the type of person who say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur and did it, and you're providing a service or a product, if you're not going to lead your product and be the face of that brand, hire or find somebody that can.
I love
Because
that.
they want access. Now, the access from a social media and digital standpoint is one thing, but the access also is how you want to build and multiply yourself. I know I keep saying this multiply thing because if I build the team, and let's say, for instance, security company, my partners are a extension of me.
Mm-hmm.
My security guards are an extension of me. If I need to be in LA, my partner could be in New York. So we're multiple places at once. I'm multiple places at one time. Same thing with trucking. I'm here. My operations manager, my brother, is handling one thing. My drivers are making the loads. And as I expand and I multiply myself, then the responsibilities will be dished out that way. So accessibility, flexibility, uh,
Authenticity.
authenticity, and creativity.
I love
That's
it.
the future, and it will always remain the future for entrepreneurship. It's no deviating from it. That's how you're going to be able to be innovative, right? Because when people add value to you, you create better things.
That's true.
Elon Musk did not become Elon Musk by himself.
Yep.
He had a partner, forget the guy name, who they started with Tesla. That guy now owns Lucid. Lucid is
Oh.
another electric company, right? So you think about all the big guys from Apple to Amazon to Microsoft. None of these people started by themselves.
Yep.
They were able to expand based off of connecting with the right knowledgeable people
Yep.
and multiplying themselves. And everybody brought their own creative juices to it that was able to expand and bring new innovative ideas to the business or the brand that they were resided in. So
I love
that
that.
would be.
Honestly, thank you so much for that answer. I feel like that answer was a mixture of a couple of things. One, it
Yes.
was inspiring because it's reminding people like, yes, you can be smart, you can be intelligent, but you still need
Mhm.
to be creative. You need to be authentic. You need to be accessible. And then
Yes.
also reminding people, like, once again, like entrepreneurship is never a solo thing. If you really want to grow immensely, you need to be a more than one person party. because the more brain power, the more fruitful the business, and the better the income, the better the outcome, whatever you want to call it at this point. Like the better the win. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look. I said it. I stand by that. I'm a firm
Mhm.
believer. And hey, and guys, this is a little side note. Get some beautiful women around you. You want
Talk
your
about
business
it.
to grow, and I need to do more of it myself. But that's the goal.
Yep.
Women, they move efficiently.
Yep.
They take all the nonsense. They strong. They creative. They
Yep.
bring vibrant. It's just good energy, and it's just one of those things that you just can't put a value on. So
Mm-hmm.
you building your business, building a brand, add some women in there.
You should listen. Diddy said it as well. And honestly, if
Yeah.
anybody actually takes a look at his portfolio of companies, you'll actually see a lot of women leadership there. So do that investigative homework, y'all.
There you go.
All
Kudos to
right,
Diddy.
everybody. Oh, excuse me.
I said kudos to Diddy.
You get me exactly. He's winning. You get me exactly. Well,
Yeah.
he's really winning right now. But anyway. Welcome to the podcast, not this one. Anywho, Saddiq, thank you so much for giving us your time. Once again, the conversation's not done. Everybody who's listening, carry over to the next episode. It'll only be a few minutes. We're going to talk about leveraging technology for logistics. See you all in a second. Bye, everyone.